to make a deal. Sharks Cards, let's show you the appeal. Buying raw cards, making profits unfold. Get that PSA gray, watch your treasures turn to gold. In every box there's a story to unfold. Hunting for that gem worth its weight in gold. Sharks Cards specialized, ain't no need to fear. Whether you're a rookie or pro, we're right here. Listen to the show, dropping every other week. What cards to grab? Let's help your game peak. From the new releases to the classics that we chase, we'll guide you through the maze, put smiles on your face. Sharks Cards, flip for gold. Grading that PSA, watch your profits unfold. Whether you're fresh on the block or a skilled veteran, join us in the hustle, your journey's just begun. Every card's a chance, so don't...
Hey guys, welcome in. Told you a few weeks ago I was going to get an entrance video. Hey Joel, so I got that music. It's almost a 3-minute song that I had done up. Played the entrance. We'll be playing that. Hope you guys liked it. Thought it was pretty cool. Anybody interested in learning how to get a song made like that, let me know. It's pretty easy to do. It does cost some money, but it's pretty easy to do. So anyways, all right. Today we are going to do something a little bit different. In 2 weeks from today, I will be getting joined. I teased that I had a special guest that was going to be joining me. It looks like we're going to try and do a show once a month together. We'll have a little bit of a format that we'll follow, and we'll see how it goes. There will be plays to make money on in the next episode. Today, I thought, because I'm restricted for the amount of time I have today, it's just a crazy day off today. So many things I got to do. I'm limited for time. So I thought I would do something kind of fun and different. Today, we are looking at the Silver Prizm PSA 10 of all of the top players in the NBA. Now, there are a few that do not have Silver Prizm PSA 10s because they're too old. LeBron James, Steph Curry, James Harden, to name a few, Kevin Durant, those guys do not have Silver Prizm rookie PSA 10s because the Silver Prizms didn't start till 2012. So for all of the players in the NBA, not all, the top, I took anywhere from 1 to 3 players on each team. I thought the relevant, I believe there's 62 players in all. I'm going to go break it down year by year. I'm going to give my opinion on whether or not I think they are a buy or a hold. We are coming into, as the finals are going on right now for the NBA playoffs, we are coming up on buying season for NBA. I've been buying heavy for the last 2 months in NFL. My NFL buys are starting to wind down. I plan on another week to 10 days, and then NFL will be cut off for me unless it's an already graded card, but the raw to grades will be done for me. And I plan on, once the finals are over, that's when I really start diving heavy into NBA, because that's typically the biggest lull in prices, is after a player gets eliminated, and after the season is over and nobody cares about it, they turn their focus to football, and you can usually find some incredibly good deals on basketball cards in July. So July is a very, very heavy basketball month for buying for me. And then end of July, August starts selling football season. And I'm hoping that PSA starts getting some of my submissions back. I have 12 weekly. I do every week. I've got 12 weeks in a row sent in. I just sent in my 13th week today. And as of this morning, the 2 oldest ones finally went from step 3 research into step 4 grading. So if they're in grading now, I'm hopeful I will get them back by the middle to end of July, and hopefully a few more come as well. And then as long as they trickle in a few, even if I got one a week back until early to mid-September, that'll be perfect timing for all of my football plays that I've got sitting there. I've got there's probably I got to say there's probably 2,000 cards and maybe $20,000 worth of cards sitting at PSA, plus another $5,000 to $10,000 in grading fees. So a lot of money tied up at PSA right now, waiting for it to come back. All right, enough of that talk. Let's get into some displays. I'm not going to be showing cards. I'm not going to be showing market movers. I put this in a spreadsheet. If you guys want to print the screen, you can. If you want to go back and watch it, you can. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. If you're watching it on Instagram, it'll be live for 30 days, and then you'll have to switch over if you want to look at any of this stuff. So, all right, let's add to the stage, and we will take a look and talk about some basketball PSA 10s. Again, these are all silver PSA 10s. All right, so let's see here. Did that add to stage? There we go. All right. Didn't show like it was on, but it is. All right, so we're going to start with 2012. 2012 Silver Prizms. You got Damian Lillard, who is out hurt right now. His most recent sale price was $1,140, population 45. I think Damian Lillard is still a good buy, even though he's going to be out the whole season. I think as the season progresses, you could see this card maybe dip below $1,000. So I'd maybe hold off a little bit. There's no reason to rush and buy this card right now, with him going to be out at least the next 8 to 10 to 12 months with his Achilles. But it's only a pop 45, so you got to be watching. They don't pop up very often. So that's why I said if you can get it around that price, I think that's fine. Bradley Beal, he's a player that you could see get traded this offseason. His name seems to come up often, a role player. A few years ago, people thought he was going to be great. Now he's just kind of maybe the third or fourth best player on a team. His Silver Prizm is $192. That is because it's only a pop 31. So because it's a pop 31, still holding almost $200 value. It's the 12 Silver Prizm, which that set holds a lot of value because people set collect it, being the first ever Silver Prizms. I'm not in on Bradley Beal. I think 192 is still too much, even though it's a pop 31. I'm not in on Bradley Beal. Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving's going to be interesting because he's got about 2 weeks to declare if he's going to do the player option. He has a player option this year, which is a boatload of money. I want to say it's like, I don't know, 50 or 59 million or something. It's a lot. It's a huge, huge amount of money. Or if he's going to enter free agency. My guess is he's probably going to wait until the 21st when the draft goes off to see what kind of moves the Mavericks make to determine if he's going to declare and take his thing or if he's going to go with free agency. If he stays and he chooses his player option, I think you could see the Mavericks potentially trying to redo his contract to lower his cap number, and then they would try and keep him until he retires. $1,850, pop 27. Kyrie is a very good player. Will probably be Hall of Famer. Again, iconic 2012 set. 1850 seems like a bit much for me for Kyrie Irving, so I'm not in on that. But if you wanted to, you certainly could. Anthony Davis, another 2012 Silver Prizm, $1,425. 34 is the pop count. Very, very low pop counts in 2012 Silver Prizm for PSA 10s, which is why they're so pricey. Anthony Davis, probably going to have, Cooper Flagg and Kyrie Irving running with him. That could be a very interesting trio. Davis, there's no doubting his talent. He's a bit of an injury risk. He never seemed to be able to put a full season together, but his talent is unquestionable. So 1425 based on where the others are at, that's probably an okay number. Again, that's not a card I'm chasing. Jimmy Butler, Pop 25, also 2012 Prism, $1,170. To be fair, I'm not chasing any of the 2012 Prisms. I don't think that any of those players put enough positive energy into what it would take for their numbers to go up and for me to risk putting that kind of money out and to make money. So I'm not into any of these guys, but it's up to you if you guys are. So Jimmy Butler, $1,170, Pop 25. Kawhi Leonard is the last of the 2012 class, $1,900, Pop 47. So take a look at that. Kawhi is actually the highest price. I don't know. To be honest, if I'm looking at this, I think the best buy right now is probably Jimmy Butler at $1,100. But I'm not really into any of these guys. All of them have shots at being Hall of Famers. All very good cards. Next up is Giannis, 2013. He's the only 2013 card to make the list. $5,347. He is the most expensive card on this list here today. Pop 87, so it's a little higher pop than the 2012s. As you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, a couple of years ago, I traded, I don't even remember what it was, like 80 different cards or something like that. I traded a whole lot of cards of some basketball prospects and stuff to a guy for a silver Giannis. I figured I have about $8,000 roughly was what I thought the card was worth when I made the trade. I've got about $5,500 in it. So I'm even underwater at this point at 55 because the most recent sale was 53.47. Giannis is a player right now that I think if you have this kind of money, I think Giannis, even though it's the most expensive card on the list, Giannis is would be a buy for me. I think this is an easy $8,000 to $10,000 card. Giannis is going to be the face of the league for many years. I don't think he's going to be traded. I think he stays in Milwaukee. That probably hurts his value a little bit for his card prices. But his legacy is cemented regardless. One of the top 5 or 10 players in the NBA, has been for years. Some could argue the best player. I think in the top 5 is probably where he belongs. But a nice card and something you could invest in and expect to make some money on in the short term. All right, 2014, there's 3 of them on this list. You have Joel Embiid, Zach LaVine, and Julius Randle. Joel Embiid, $55, Pop 89. Julius Randle, $42, Pop 33. Zach LaVine, $100, Pop 53. Joel Embiid is an absolute buy. Now, to be fair, $55 was a lone rogue sale. When you look at market movers, somebody sniped one for $55, got a steal of a deal. All of the other ones were selling in that 125 to 175 range. I think this is for sure a $200, $150, $200 card all day long. So if you can buy a Joel Embiid Silver Prizm PSA 10 rookie for under $200, buy it. I think there's money to be had there. Great deal. $55. Whoever got that, kudos to you. Absolute steal. Zach LaVine, $100. To me, Zach LaVine at $100 is probably priced about right with a Pop 53. He's turning a little bit into a journeyman. Not a top player on a team anymore. He's number 2 or number 3, depending upon which team he goes to. Still a good player, still can fill up the stat line. But at $100, I'm not buying Zach LaVine, although he is another player that probably will get a lot of trade hype this offseason. Julius Randle. Many thought that was a bad trade, moving Cat for Randle next to Minnesota. Turned out it worked out for both teams. Both teams got what they wanted. Both teams performed better than they did a year prior. Julius Randle surprised a lot of people. He can score. He's a big man that can score. Doesn't get a lot of hobby love because he's a big guy. But at $42 for a Silver Prizm with a pop 33, yes, I'll take one of those. If Minnesota makes it to the finals next year, and I think one of these years they're going to, because Ant-Man's going to get a championship in his career. And if he can do it with Julius Randle by his side, that's easily a $150, $200 card, $100 card at minimum. So at $42, I'm a buy on Julius Randle. All right, we just talked about the Towns trade. Here's Towns. 2015, we got Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker. We got the Joker. Those are the three players from 2015. Karl Anthony Towns, $315, pop 167. Based on what you saw from the last couple of years, for that type of player, $300 actually seems a little bit on the tall side for me. I think Towns is going to have to take the Knicks to the NBA Finals for anybody to make money on that. It wouldn't surprise me if that card maybe dips down to the 250 range this offseason. Maybe not, I'm not sure. But at $315, I'm not a buyer. I've got a ton of Karl Anthony Towns cards as he's from Kentucky. I've probably got 8 or 10 rookie cards. I got rookie autos. I do not have a Silver Prizm. Devin Booker, another Kentucky guy. Love Devin Booker. You're going to see that Durant is getting traded this offseason. Sounds like it's all but a done deal going to the Spurs. Devin Booker at $635 seems a bit high, but that card held at $1,000+ for a very, very long time. The shine is starting to come off of the Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker a little bit. So you've been watching this card steadily fall over the last 2 years. It's down to $635. It is a pop 236. I would say if that card gets into the 500, 550 range, I might be a buyer, but at $635, still not a buyer, even though he's a Kentucky boy. Again, I've got a bunch of Booker cards, but I don't have a Silver Prizm. Joker, second most expensive card on the list to Giannis. Again, it's an expensive card, but this is once again a card I would absolutely recommend at $3,600. I think that card is a good value. It's pop 185. Joker's in the MVP conversation year after year. Some would argue he's the best player in the entire NBA. Hard to argue with his statistics. Very, very good player. Again, for sure, top 5. Can't argue that. $3,600 for a player of his caliber. Going to go down as an all-time great. Probably going to end up in the top 50 all-time NBA players when his career is over. $3,600 seems like a good buy. I don't have one of those either. I do have a base, but not a silver. All right, moving on to 2016. 2016, we have Siakam, Jaylen Brown, DeJounte Murray, Sabonis, and Jamal Murray. So you got 5 cards in 2016. Siakam gets absolutely no love at all. He is arguably the best player on the Pacers team. One could argue it's Halliburton. When you look at the stats, Siakam has probably been the more consistent, steady player for the entire season and through the playoffs. Just Halliburton gets all the glory for the game-winning shots. But Siakam, until recently, nobody cared about those cards. 30 days ago, 60 days ago, you could have gotten this card that's currently at $110. Could have got it for about $50, $60. Finally starting to get a little love, but at $110, criminally underpriced. But that said, I'm not buying Siakam at $110. They're in the NBA playoffs. They're shocking every team and getting them eliminated, and yet it's still only $110. I don't see this card. I just don't see being able to make money on this card. If the Pacers do not win the NBA Finals, I see that card dropping back probably to $50 or $60 in the offseason. That would be the time to buy it, not now at $110. Next player up, Jaylen Brown. At Jaylen Brown, with having Jason Tatum out all of next year, and Jaylen Brown has proven that he's every bit as good, if not better, than Jason Tatum. This is probably my number one card that if I'm going to buy a graded card, this is the number one card on this list that I think has the best value going into next year. I shouldn't tell everybody that because now I'm going to have to compete against you guys buying it, but I just want to share this information. Jaylen Brown is going to be the face of the Celtics. Chances are they're going to unload some salary. You're probably going to see Porzingis traded. You're probably going to see Drew Holiday traded. You already saw what's his name retire. I can't think of the power forward. I'm at a loss right now. But anyways, hey, what's up there? Thanks for dropping in, saying hello. So we are looking at Jaylen Brown being the face. You're going to see he's probably going to put up numbers next year, unlike anything he's ever done in his career. He doesn't going to have to share the ball with a bunch of people. It's going to be his team. I think you're going to see a lot of hype on Jaylen Brown next year. If the Celtics don't suck next year, you could see this card double, triple in price. I really think at $222, this is an absolute steal for the talent level that he is with only a pop 307. All right. Dropping in on your vacation, Hitman. I appreciate that. Hope you're enjoying some sun. Don't get too sunburned sitting on the beach watching my show here. All right. DeJounte Murray, $50. Pop 157. Again, he's kind of taking a back seat. He's the number 2 or 3 option. He's going to have to do something, get some hype to have anything to move his card prices. But at $50 for a PSA 10 silver with a pop that low, you have really nothing to lose. I don't see that card losing a ton of value. It's only $50. So DeJounte Murray's a card I think you can buy at $50 and feel good about your purchase. I just don't know how much money you're going to make. It's one of those a little bit risky. Sabonis could get traded this year. You could see the Kings completely dismantle their team. Sabonis is at $60, and it's a pop 108. So you could see that if he gets a little bit of hype with some trade, you could see $60 double real quick, real easy. So Sabonis is somebody that I think might be a good buy at $60. Jamal Murray, $120. I think that's priced about where it should be, 206 pop count. The Nuggets are his price depends on whether or not the Nuggets can get back to the finals again next year. If they can, his price will go up. If they can't, it's probably going to stay about where it is. Bam Adebayo. This is not a misprint, guys. Bam Adebayo, now we're in the 2017s. Bam Adebayo, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Lauri Markkanen, and De'Aaron Fox. Those are your 2017s on this list. Bam Adebayo's $18. Talk about criminally underpriced. He is either 1 or 2, depending upon if you call him or Hero the best player on the Miami Heat. Adebayo, great player, no matter where he goes, solid. $18. I'll take 50 of those for $18 if I could find them. The problem is it's a pop 547. It doesn't sell very often. That was on an auction. It was not a buy it now. Most of the buy it nows, people are asking anywhere from $50 to $75 for them. And I think the card probably should be in that $50 to $75 range. But if you can find one at 18, 20, 30, $35, slap the buy it now, bid on it, snipe it, whatever you got to do, that is a great deal. Jason Tatum, price is $638, pop $919. Jason Tatum's cards are probably going to continue to fall a little bit. They seem to have kind of steadied off right now. I don't know if they'll go down a little bit more as the season goes on and people forget about him. I think they will. I think this card probably dips just below $600, but at $638, very good value when he comes back, top 5 or 10 player in the NBA. So that could be a nice long-term hold. That I think that's a $750 to $1,000 card. Donovan Mitchell. Card prices have been dropping like a lead balloon right now. This card was $350 just a couple weeks ago before the Pacers knocked the Cavs out of the playoffs, and everybody thought Mitchell was going to finally get the Cavs to the NBA Finals. If it had gone to the finals, it'd probably be a $400 card right now. Instead, they got bounced in 5 games against the Pacers. The card is down to 181 and it's still dropping. We don't know where the bottom is. It's got to be getting close to the bottom because that is cheap for a player the caliber of Spider. Spida. All right, Lauri Markkanen. Here again, could be talks of a trade in trade talks this offseason. Lauri Markkanen's a very good player. He's not a franchise player, but he's a good role player. Could be a good number 2 or 3. $36 just seems way too cheap. Pop 163. If you can get that card in that price range, you're not going to lose any money. De'Aaron Fox, pop 595, $168. De'Aaron Fox, that price has gone down quite a bit with his injury last year. Now with the news that Durant is probably going to be a Spur, and you'll have Fox, Durant, and Wemby. I think all 3 of those will probably get a lot of hype this offseason, and I think all 3 of those guys, their prices probably rise. So $168 for Fox, I think that is a buy right now. Trae Young. Nobody knows what to do with Trae Young anymore. So 2018, you got Trae Young, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Anthony Simons, Jaren Jackson Jr., Luka Doncic, and Shea Alexander. So you got SGA. So you got quite a few here in 2018. Trae, it used to be, it was Luka and Trae. Luka and Trae, that was all of the 2018 prices. Nobody cared about SGA back when. It was the value of that product was carried by Trae and Luka. Nobody knows what to do with Trae Young anymore. Trae Young prices have dropped. A Silver Prizm's down to $109. The guy can shoot. He can fill up a stat sheet. He doesn't play defense very well. But the guy can score. He can drop 50 on any given night. If Atlanta can put a team around him and he can start scoring and get up into that 30 points a game category, you could see this card shoot back up to the $300, $400, $500 range real quickly. At $109, even though it's a pop 23.71, I think that is a pretty good value. Jalen Brunson, $330. I think you're going to see that card come down a little bit more in the offseason as well. They recently got eliminated. That card was up to about $360. It's down to $330. I expect that card probably to level off into the upper 200s. But Brunson's another guy. I think the Knicks are going to go deep in the playoffs again next year. So Brunson's another guy I think you can go out and buy this offseason. Mikal Bridges, $30. Nothing else to say about that. $30. It's a buy for a Silver Prizm with an 821 pop count. At $30, I'll take a Mikal Bridges. Anthony Simons, $36. Again, with Portland, you could see him get traded. You could see them build around him. Simons, when healthy, can really fill up the stat line. At $36, you got nothing to lose with Anthony Simons either. Jaren Jackson Jr., $62, pop count 1,071. I think that's priced about where it should be. That card could come down a little bit. I'm staying away from it at $60. I don't see the value there. Luka's down in the last 30 days. Luka's down. That card was up to about $1,400. It's all the way down to $1,025. It's a pop 23.80. He still is the face of the league. He's still on the Lakers. Depending upon what the Lakers do in the offseason here, if they add any bodies or not, Luka's going to stay relevant. At $1,025, I think that's a buy. You're going to see that card spike next year during the season regardless. He's going to try and get back to his triple-double ways. So that's a buy for me. SGA in the finals, his card's $1,135. To me, this seems underpriced for what he's doing and accomplishing. It's only a pop 690, but for whatever reason, he does not get the love that a lot of the other players in the NBA get. Maybe he will after this year if they end up beating the Pacers and win the finals. But right now, if you look back 6 months ago, this card was only about a $600 card. So it is up immensely in the last 180 days by getting to the finals. But at $1,135, I'm staying away from this card because it has nowhere to go but down in the offseason. Maybe he can continue to rise it next year, but at $1,100, I don't want any part of this card. All right, to the 2019, the vaunted 2019 during COVID. This was the year in the set that just made everybody go bat crazy. You got Tyler Hero, Darius Garland, Zion Williamson, and Ja Morant. Tyler Hero, PSA 10, $50, pop 860. He really had stepped up this year, took his game to a new level. Miami didn't do so great. That card did reach almost $100 about a month or so ago. At $50, I think that's a solid buy. Darius Garland down to $51, pop 1639. The owner just came out and said that he is not getting traded, but there was a lot of news that he might get traded. Now they're saying he's not going to get traded regardless. Darius Garland at $51, that's a steal for the quality player he is for a silver PSA 10. Zion, oh man, how the mighty have fallen. Zion silver down to $193. In the news, we're waiting to hear what's going to happen with the legal case. You could see this card continue to fall if it turns out that any of these accusations are true. The card could literally drop down to $50, $60, $70. So I'm staying away from the Zion card till I find out what happens in the news. Ja Morant, $216. Electric player, incredible player, but he just can't get over this. He's got to do stupid stuff during the games, pulls out his fake guns with his fingers. If he ever decides that he wants to get serious about it, the guy is unbelievable talent, electric, fun to watch. At $216, his card is way underpriced. But there again, if he does anything stupid, you could see that drop to nothing. So he's a very risky play. I think he's one worth the risk at $216, but you'll have to decide that on your own. All right, on to 2020. All right, as we get newer, there ends up being more and more people to talk about for each year. So in 2020, you've got Tyrese Maxey, Emmanuel Quickley, Tyrese Halliburton, LaMelo Ball, Devin Vassell, and Anthony Edwards. You can see the pop count very low on Vassell and Emmanuel Quickley. Those two players have been relevant for not very long, so not a lot of people graded their cards, so they're pretty low. If they do something incredible, cards are going to spike quickly because there's not a lot of pop count. LaMelo, Tyrese, Halliburton, and Maxey, they're all in that 400 to 500 pop count range. Halliburton, of course, in the finals, his card is up huge in the last 30 days, up north of $400. I'm staying away from Halliburton, obviously, because he's in the finals. You never want to buy in the high point. If they lose, you could see that card get back down to the $200, $250 range in the offseason. LaMelo Ball coming off an okay season at $200. Could be an okay play, a little bit too risky for me. Vassell at $48. I think he's going to be the fourth or fifth option now if he doesn't get traded. So I'm staying away from that. Tyrese Maxey at $185. Maxey's a buy for me at $185. With Embiid's troubles, Maxey's slowly becoming the face of the 76ers franchise. So I'm going to say Tyrese Maxey is a buy at $185. Quickly at $30, cheap enough you can't get hurt at it, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. All right, 2021. You've got Cam Thomas, Scotty Barnes, Josh Giddey, Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Jonathan Kuminga, Austin Reeves, Alperen Sengun, and Jalen Green. All right. A lot to talk about here, but not a lot to talk about. These are guys that are kind of up and comers. So that's why I put them on here. Some of the best players on their team. Cam Thomas at $110, not touching that card. Can fill up the stat sheet, but can't play defense. Scotty Barnes at $98. Don't want anything to do with that. I just don't think Toronto's a very good team. That's where stars go to die. That's why quickly's cards have dropped in price so much. Josh Giddey. I think Giddey's going to continue to see more and more of a role in Chicago at $199. I think there's not a lot of money left to be made there. I don't see that spiking too much higher than maybe 250, 300. So I'm staying away from it at $200 because I just don't think there's a lot of profit to be had there. But I do think Giddey's a player that could really take the next step next year, which could in turn increase his prices. Cade Cunningham at $445. Love Cade Cunningham. Continues to get better and better every year. But $445, in my opinion, is too much for his Silver Prizm. Could he get some hype and it could raise a little bit more? It could. I don't know. I'm staying away from Cade at $445. Evan Mobley at $200. Again, a big guy. I think that'll come down in the offseason because they lost. Kuminga. Out of the 2021 picks, if I'm going to pick one, you can make an argument for it to be Jonathan Kuminga. You're going to see his role increase in Golden State next year. You're going to see him scoring more. At $118, that seems like a pretty good buy. Wouldn't take much for that card to go to 200, 250. So I like Kuminga for a buy. Austin Reeves, $223. That seems too pricey for me for an Austin Reeves card. Sengun, $175. Again, with a big guy. I think that's probably where it should be. I'm not touching that. Jalen Green at $175. There's a player who's electric for an up-and-coming Houston team. If he can carry that team in a little bit deeper into the playoffs, have some big playoff games next year, there's a card you could see I think could reach that 300, 350 range. So at 175, I like Jalen Green. 2022, you've got Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith Jr., Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren. Jabari Smith just crowded in a very talented Houston Rockets team, $46. That card could easily go to 100, but there's so many Rockets on that team that are good players. You just don't know who's going to have a good season, who's going to have a good game. So although I like Jabari Smith, I'm staying away from that. Jalen Williams, of course, at 176, that card is up a lot because he's in the finals with OKC. I'm staying away from that. Banchero at 401. You could see that he could be like an Anthony Edwards type where you could see with some hype behind him, that card could reach $500, $600, $700 status range. I don't think this next year is the year that it's going to happen, though. So at $400, I'm staying away from Banchero. And Chet Holmgren at 168 seems very cheap, but he's just average so far in the playoffs. He hasn't had that big game or moment. If he does, you could see his card spike yet if they end up winning the finals. But Holmgren, unless he does something to get some hype behind him, I'm staying away from Holmgren as well. I'm not touching that at $168. All right, we got 23 and 24 to go here yet, guys. All right, 2023, we have Ausar Thompson, Keontae George, Brandon Miller, Victor Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson, and Amen Thompson. The Thompson brothers have shown they're up and coming. Amen has taken a bigger step with the Houston Rockets so far than Ausar did with the Detroit Pistons. However, Ausar's price is sitting at $90, whereas Amen's at $241. So if I'm buying one of the two Thompson brothers, I'm probably buying Ausar because I believe that there is more of a opportunity for that card to go up and to make money. Keontae George at $37. He's going to get more and more run, more and more control of that Utah team. At $37, I'm an absolute buy on Keontae George. Brandon Miller at $181. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you've probably already seen that I bought one of these about a few weeks ago for about the price that it's at now. I really like at that $181 price range. I expect Brandon Miller to take that next step, and when he does, that card's going to go up to $350, $400. So I like Brandon Miller at $181. Victor Wembanyama, now with the most likely trade that everybody's talking about, Durant to the Spurs. If and when that happens, and they have the three-headed monster with Durant, Fox, and Wemby, there's going to be so much hype around that team with Fox and Wemby coming back from injuries, and Durant once again trying to buy his way onto a finals team. That's going to be his legacy. He's always trying to make a super team to win instead of carrying a bad team. That's just going to be Durant's legacy, but still a heck of a player. I think that you're going to see Wembanyama prices go up. Wembanyama's got the highest pop count of any of the cards on this list. His silver PSA 10 is 4,528. So there has to be a lot of hype around it to get his prices to go up, because that's a big, huge pop count. But fortunately for Victor Wembanyama, he has the hype train behind him that I don't care what the pop count is, and I don't care what the price of his cards are right now. They're going to go up. There's going to make money on them. It's currently at $683. This could easily be a $1,500 to $2,000 card if they're able to make a run into the playoffs next year and Wembanyama stays healthy. So at $683, I think Wemby is a buy if you have that kind of funds and can afford to pay that kind of money. Last year up is 2024. Very weak class, but there are 4 players that I put on it. Buzelis, Risa Shea, Castle, and Dalton Connect. Buzelis at 280, up-and-coming player at 280. I have no interest in that card, even though it's a pop 30. Those pops are still climbing. Risa Shea at 250, no desire to chase that at all. Stefan Castle at 410. Again, to me, Castle's the best player in that class by a mile. I don't believe that $410 is sustainable, so I'm not interested in that. And Dalton Connect at $61. If I was going to chase a 2024 Silver Prizm PSA 10, it would be Dalton Connect, just because he's on the Lakers. He does get some hype. And at $61, it's a fairly low risk option. So if you want to chase a 2024, that's probably where I would go. But again, I wouldn't spend a lot of time or money on the 2024 class just yet, unless you want to take some flyers. There's a lot of flyers out there, like a Reed Shepherd, for example, had a lot of hype coming in that class. His cards are relatively cheap in a PSA 10. So hope you guys enjoyed the little bit different format with the Silver Prizm PSA 10s. I know everybody's been saying that it's been harder and harder with PSA taking so long for the raw to grade plays. So I thought I'd bring you guys a already graded segment so you guys can, especially coming into basketball season, you can take a look at this list. This list is going to stay relevant for at least the next 60 days. So you can reference back to this list, see where the prices were today compared to what they're going to be in a few weeks, and reference who you think you might want to buy. But this list should help everybody make some money going into the basketball season. So that is it for today. If you guys got any questions, comments, give me a holler, let me know. Shoot me a message on Instagram. And like I said, I'll be back in 2 weeks with some raw to grade plays, which will all be basketball plays if you guys want to make some of those and have them back in time for basketball season. And I will be adding a co-host with me in 2 weeks. We're going to probably go live in the afternoon because it will be on the night of the NBA draft. So we'll probably want to make sure that we're done in time for everybody to get off the podcast and go watch the NBA draft. So hope everybody enjoyed this, and we'll catch you on the next one.